Hey guys, so today for our lesson, we're going to be learning about figurative language. We're going to be going over what figurative language is. We're going to be learning about four key terms that are pieces of figurative language, and then we'll give some examples and talk about it. Okay? So let's start with what the difference is between figurative and literal language. Okay? So when we're talking about when we're talking about a literal and a figurative meaning, we got to look at it this way. Literal meanings are the actual definition of words. So when I'm describing something, I'm trying to give the actual definition of it. I'm speaking in a literal sense. Okay, so I'm saying that chair is orange, or that chair is big. I'm being literal about it. I'm speaking literally about the chair. Now, when we're talking about something figuratively, we're changing or exaggerating the actual meaning of the words and phrases to convey our point, to convey, convey what we're trying to say. So if I'm saying that chair is as big as a mountain, then what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to paint a picture for my readers by telling them that that chair is really big. I'm trying to make a point that chair is really ginormous. Or if I'm saying that chair is as orange as an orange, I'm trying to describe that the color of the chair is as orange as an orange. So when we're talking about figurative language, it's important that we know the difference between what is literal and how we're speaking figuratively. Now, let's talk about what figurative language is, okay? So the definition of figurative language is language used to create a special effect or feeling shown by figures of speech. It compares, it exaggerates, or it means something other than what it first appears to mean. So when we're talking about figurative language, what we really need to make sure we understand is that it's imaginative language in literature that makes it rich. So figurative language adds a completely new element to a text or to an article or to a poem or any sort of piece of literature by making it more, making it more, giving more of a feeling or an effect to the readers so that it doesn't sound so boring. So instead of an author just writing something and speaking so literally, like the chair was orange and it was sitting there, he's gonna try to make it. He's gonna try to make the words pop out to you. He's gonna try to really paint a picture in your head, almost using figurative language about what the chair looks like. So instead of just speaking literally, he could say the chair was as large as a mountain as the man came to sit upon his throne, or the king's crown was as gold as the sun, and it reflected with the beams of a million light. So what the author's trying to do is they're trying to really paint a picture for you. Okay. Here, just a really quick example. As you can see, Mrs. Potato Head is saying to her son, "Don't roll your eyes at me, young man." And we have, that picture of him rolling his eyes at her almost in a disrespectful way. So figurative language is really just to paint a picture, okay? Really used to create a special feeling or develop a special effect with the reader. Now, so we don't there's a lot of different pieces of figurative language out there, but today we're just going to focus on these four. Okay, we have metaphor, simile, personification, and hyperbole. And these are probably the four pieces of figurative language that are going to be not only the easiest to identify, but also come up the most in different pieces of literature. So let's talk about our first piece of figurative language, a metaphor. Okay, so the definition of metaphor is a comparison between two unlike objects without using like or as, saying that one thing is something else. Okay, so if we look at our example here, it says cigarettes are loaded guns. Now, are cigarettes really loaded guns? Do cigarettes really have bullets? No, cigarettes can't really shoot someone, and they can't really kill someone. But cigarettes are loaded guns. Let's really look at what that's trying to say. What it's trying to say is that cigarettes are killers. They can kill someone. They're locked and loaded, ready to go. And as we know from scientific research, cigarettes kill people. They cause cancer. They can cause emphysema, skin cancer, etc. So by using the metaphor, by metaphorizing cigarettes as loaded guns, we're looking for an underlying message, and the underlying message of the metaphor is that cigarettes can kill. So by saying cigarettes are loaded guns, the author is implying that cigarettes can kill people. So when we're looking at metaphor, we're trying to, like the definition says, we're comparing two unlike objects, saying that one thing is something else to try to really convey an underlying message. Now, a simile, on the other hand, is a comparison of two things using like or as. So when you're using a simile, you're normally saying that one thing is like another, or you're saying that something is like something else. So, for example, we have this example on the right from Forrest Gump, which says, "Mama always said life was like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get." So, two things are being compared, life and chocolate, but it's saying that life is like a box of chocolate. Okay? So that's a really important thing to know about similes and metaphors, that the difference is that similes use like or as, while metaphors don't use like or as at all. So for example, Eminem is saying, "I'm beginning to feel like a rap god." So Eminem is saying, "I'm beginning to feel like a rap god." Well, he must be saying that, well, he's doing so well in music that he's starting to feel like he's one of the best out there. Okay? Just like over here with Forrest Gump, he's saying, "Mama always said life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get." Comparing two unlike things, but using like or as. Okay? So, remember, when we're talking about a metaphor, it's two unlike objects without using like or as, and similes are using like or as to identify how two things are alike. Let's go ahead and look at our next piece of figurative language, personification. So personification is giving human qualities to animals or objects, okay? So our example's down here, okay? The flame of the candle danced in the dark. Okay, now, can candles really dance? No. But when you see a candle flickering the flame, okay, it has the appearance like it's dancing. Okay, so by giving the candle, okay, human qualities, you're bringing the object to life. You're giving it human characteristics that's going to make it pop out more to the reader. Okay, just like over here in the next example, it says, "The slices of bread jumped out of the toaster, suddenly scaring me." Okay, now, the bread doesn't really jump, okay? Bread doesn't have legs, it can't jump, okay? But when it pops out of that oven, okay, it looks like it's jumping. And for the reader, or for the character right here, it might have scared him because it jumped at him really quickly. Okay, so when we're thinking about animals or objects and we're giving them human qualities, we need to think personification. We need to think that the author is giving these objects or animals human characteristics to bring them to life, to make them have more of an effect, to make them more important to the reader. Okay, almost making it more descriptive. Okay. So, again, a personification, giving human qualities to animals or objects. Now let's talk about our last piece of figurative language, hyperbole. Okay, hyperbole is an exaggerated statement or claim not meant to be taken literally. So when we talk about figurative language, this one really takes it home, okay? Because it's an exaggerated statement that should not be taken literally, and that's what figurative language is all about. It's all about not being taken literally. It's all to just convey a point or to paint a picture for our readers from an author's perspective. So I think everyone has heard this hyperbole before. "I'm so hungry I could eat a horse." Okay, now I'm sure no one can really eat a full horse, but I'm sure we've all had that feeling where we're so hungry that we think we could literally eat a horse. Okay. Or, for example, maybe you've been carrying a bag and you said, "Oh, this bag weighs a ton." Now, it doesn't really weigh a ton, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to convey a message to whoever that, "Oh man, this is so heavy," okay? But what's really cool about literature and what's really cool about, English, the English language, is we can convey how we feel using words without actually saying what we mean. So we could say, "Oh, this bag weighs a ton." In reality, someone could just say, "This bag," and literally we could say, "This bag is so heavy." But by saying this bag weighs a ton, you're conveying that the bag is really heavy, okay? And that you're making it more descriptive for the person who you're with, okay? So again, a hyperbole is a definition, or it's an exaggerated statement or claim not meant to be taken literally, okay? So just to review, okay, we went over what a metaphor was. Okay, a comparison between two unlike objects without using like or as. Okay, we went over what a simile is. which is a comparison of two things using like or as. We went over what a personification is, which is giving human qualities to animals or objects. And finally, we went over what a hyperbole is, which is an exaggerated statement or claim not meant to be taken literally. So hopefully you guys learned something new today about figurative language and how it is used in literature today.